Welcome into the Ponder Podcast. I am Sebastian,
And I am Matthias.
and we're your hosts. We're back today with a very interesting and personal topic on Denmark and its culture.
Yes.
And now we haven't tried, you have tried living in another country. You lived in
That's
Hong
right.
Kong for a while.
That's right.
But personally, I haven't been much of an explorer in my lifetime yet. So I don't know much about other cultures. But we want to give a perspective on the Danish culture for you to see what it's like here and maybe give
How it
some
is to
personal
live.
experiences on how it is to
Yeah.
live here and give you a chance to compare it to your own culture and well make an opinion about what's better or what's worse or
Yeah.
anything of the sort. I have tried being in. I have traveled to Canada and the United States, and I've been in Greece for one time and Malta.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
where I've been. Also Germany, of course, because it's right next to us. So I have a little experience being around, but I mean mostly the only places I've been staying for a while is Canada because I have family there.
Exactly.
So I know a little bit about that place, but the other places I don't know much. So I hope Matthias can give some interesting points on what it is relative to Hong Kong, for example.
I sure will.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. The first thing we want to talk about concerning Denmark is the ideology. And Denmark is mostly a socialistic ideology. It's definitely
That's right.
skewed a lot to that side of the spectrum. And that gives us a lot of benefits, but also some negatives, of course. Would you care to just tell about some of the benefits?
Sure. Well, let's just start off with the general sectors of our society. Well, we have a universal healthcare. It's free for most parts. Then we have free schooling, and most of you might have heard of the policy we have in Denmark where you actually get paid for going to school.
Ooh, yeah.
And,
We didn't even write that down.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I just
you
remembered
get
it.
you get paid. You don't even have to pay to go to school. You
Yeah,
get paid.
you get paid to go to school, which
Yeah.
is like directly the opposite of American way.
But only if you're 18.
Only if you're 18, yes, or older.
Yeah.
And yeah, social security is also a big part. We have a very secure safety net if something were to happen to you and were incapable of working.
Yeah. There are various different payments
That's right.
methods where you get paid by the state to search for work. So you have to do something to get the money.
Exactly.
To be applicable
You can't
to
just leisure around and
Yeah, exactly.
do nothing with your bed.
But as long as you're trying to get work somewhere or doing something beneficial, you can at least get a bare minimum for which you can live somewhere and get some food on the table.
Yeah. I believe that was pretty much the
But
positive
those are,
sides.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
the main positives
Main
of being in
positive
Denmark.
sides.
It's very, very secure because of the socialistic ideology. So, I mean, if something bad happens to you, it can't be that bad because you'll get caught in the net and
in the social net,
brought back
Yeah,
up. And also, of course, the schooling system is free,
Mhm.
even though we of course have our qualms about the schooling system in general.
Yeah,
But at least it has this point right. It's
Exactly.
free and everybody can go, and that makes for really good equal opportunity.
Mm.
Yeah, so those are some of the main benefits.
I think the general thing, the sort of government is, or our whole ideology is based upon is, creating equal opportunity, and that is very much accomplished with the free schooling and healthcare and other such benefits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but
But also one of the things that of course follows with all of those things that have to be produced for free for a lot of citizens by the state is high taxes. So here are some of the numbers for our taxing system and prepare because they are very, very
shocking.
yeah. Good word. Okay. So first off, let's do that one. So,
All right.
as long as you earn more than $7,403 a year in Denmark. You have to pay 37.06% tax on it.
Yes.
And that's our lowest tax,
Mhm.
37.06%. And if you earn more than 82.266,
82,000.
oh yeah, sorry, yeah, $82,266 a year, you have to pay 52% tax
Yeah.
on that money. But of course, the system works like this. Anything you earn over 46,000. No, sorry, I'm talking Danish kroner now. Anything you earn over 7,400,
Yeah,
you pay the 37% tax on.
that's true.
And then whatever you earn over the 266,000, you pay the 52% tax. So the tax does not, when you reach a mark, apply for all the money you earn,
Yeah.
but it applies for whatever you earn about
Yeah, so
at
if
that mark and over.
So if you're in like 600,000, it would only be the 87,000 kroner that you would be taxed on.
So it doesn't count for all your money, only the one where
Exactly.
you reach your benchmark and then over that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is also AM-bidrag, which is like a pension thing,
Yeah.
where you always, whatever you earn, always have to pay 8% to like a pension institution
Mm-hmm.
that keep your money and give you some social security in terms of what do you call those? Forsikringer.
Securities?
Yeah, securities. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Securities.
right. Yeah.
And then there's also VAT, which is called mums in Denmark, and that is 25% for everything. Everything is 25%.
On all products.
So we did a little calculation. The most amount of tax you can pay in Denmark if you calculate the VAT backwards. So instead of being everything costing more, you think about it in a way of everything of just having less money because
Yeah.
everything costs more.
Exactly.
So instead of everything costing 25% more, you think of it as you just have 20% less money, which is
Mhm.
essentially the same as paying 20% more tax, which would bring the highest amount of tax you can pay, pension included, up to 80%.
Yes.
If you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
80% tax. So that's just an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, we of course have our problems sometimes with paying so much tax on everything.
Mm.
But you can't argue with the results sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
you get a lot of benefits from it, like very very good benefits that benefit all the society in Denmark.
Yeah.
That is a very good thing.
Well, yeah. Should we talk about the positives of this? Go deeper into the things we have. So, yeah, with healthcare, it's universal. You get free if you have a stomach ache, you can go to the local nursing home. And get checked up, and if you need to go to the hospital, that is also taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get really most things done.
Those things, yeah.
I mean, the only thing you have to pay for would be things that aren't life-threatening, generally.
Yeah.
You don't have to
true.
pay for
I don't think so either.
No.
No,
Like anything life-threatening, the state pays for you. But if you want to get anything done that isn't threatening your life, you generally have to pay for it yourself. So, and there are also other medication things that you might have to pay a bit for, but there's generally always sort of support from the state when you have to get something.
That's right.
And they do that depending on your income level generally also.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is one thing though, the dentist isn't free. It's free for anyone 18 and under.
That's right.
When you get to 18 and over. No, not 18 and under, but 17 and under. And then 18 and over, you have to pay for the dentist yourself.
Yeah.
Which they are debating also changing in the state, I think, recently. Changing it to somewhere around 25, I think. Because when you get out of school, or you're actually still in school at 18, you cannot afford going to the dentist.
Dentist bills are
they're high, really expensive. Like you cannot afford that even with the
that makes sense. Yeah.
And talking about that, Esu, in Denmark when you study and you're 18 and over,
Yeah.
you get an amount of money dependent on your well
Sort of
status.
social economic status.
Social
So
economic
it's
status.
dependent on your family background. If you have divorced parents,
Mhm.
it's also dependent on how many siblings you have.
Yeah.
It's depending on if you live at home or if you live abroad. Or, so there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think that the base is a little under 1,000 kroner a month.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
would
roughly,
be what
what's that, 120,
130
130 US dollars. Yeah.
US dollars, maybe
It's the
140,
base.
somewhere around
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that you just receive every month.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then you can get all the way up to
I think like I heard
4,700 or like for 4,500 just to get around.
yeah, I think
somewhere
like
around that.
around $500. It's probably the highest I've heard.
No,
Right.
it would be even higher than
Yeah, yeah.
600
'cause
or
it's-
700.
Yeah, that's true. 700.
$700 a month.
Yeah.
But that's only in rare cases. That's
Yeah.
not something
That's
everybody
if
gets.
you approve the above the before mentioned
Yeah, like your parents
factors,
are
yeah.
divorced, you have
a lot of
a
siblings.
bunch of siblings, and you live.
Yeah, you
away from
you
home.
live away from home. Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean also a bunch of Danish people have problems with this, especially like the old conservatives who just call it
We
whatever
call it
expenditure
we call it
money.
cafe ping.
cafe thing. Yeah,
It's cafe money.
Yeah.
So they debate that the money isn't necessarily used on paying rent or it's used on paying for food. It's just used for going to Starbucks and going to other nightclubs maybe.
yeah,
So it isn't used responsibly as they might say.
yeah,
But
yeah.
we talked about this actually the
Yeah.
last time we met up.
Yeah, exactly.
And the conclusion was that it doesn't really hurt. It'll all go back to the society anyway. If you support local businesses, even if there are use on Starbucks, then they get supported and then they pay taxes, and so it all just goes around anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the most important thing. That even if they're just granted this money,
Yeah,
they get to spend it on businesses and they grow,
Yeah.
and the state
it's
has
positive.
the money returned through VAT,
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah.
and also the business tax.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the bottom line business tax. I mean, there are so many taxes. Like, oh, you have to. Also, we discussed this not too far ago, not too long ago, that you have to pay taxes when you're inheriting.
Oh yeah. When
Yeah, from
say a
somebody who's there,
grandparent
yeah.
dies and you inherit somebody,
Yeah,
you pay taxes on that.
yeah, and also you can't grant gifts over some amount without having to pay taxes from receiving it.
That's right.
So I mean, there's so many taxes. But I mean, they probably have a lot of these things other places too. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah.
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 But yeah, there's just so many things you have to just think about before you make financial decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
the next point.
The
I
school
think
system.
this point is pretty much wrapped up, right? Oh no, you want to go into the school system more?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
quickly-
sure. Let's go for
I
it.
think the school system in Denmark, I think generally the same as around the world, at least in the US, I think.
Yeah.
We have, you have the sort of foundational education system, then you move on to, what you would call high school, and then up to university.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're the same ideology or the same belief system as how school systems should work. They're also the same. You get a bunch of homework and
Yeah.
you take tests every few months, and then they grade you depending on what you get.
All right, Dad.
Yeah. So, but if you look at other countries, Finland is rated the best, having the best school system in the world, and they don't grade their students as you would do in Denmark and the U.S. And then they don't get homework. They don't have the same sort of foundation of science, the same mindset as you would have here in Denmark. And I think that's, at least how I view it, is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's very funny. What? I've been having some problems with my Spotify because it doesn't want to play. Then all of a sudden it just plays randomly. But whatever. That was some Stevie Wonder for you. But I think it's funny how people are in consensus that Finland has the best education system, but we in no way follow their way of doing things.
Yeah.
We still have the same old education system, but we for some reason agree that Finland is better in the way they do it.
Yeah,
But
which
do
is
not incorporate
which
it
is
in
super
ours.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's still one of the
and it's just so.
most prominent fallacies in the education system, that also in many things in like your life in general, thinking that doing more is doing more, because
Yeah, that you have
sometimes
to
doing
perform
less is
to-
actually doing more,
Yeah,
because sitting in school and trying to learn something for like 7 or 8 hours
it's just-
straight with like a half an hour break like 1 or 2 times
Mm.
is super tough, because you have to integrate it into your thinking and you have to learn it, and that is not just something you sit and do for 7 hours straight without being drained and exhausted completely.
Yeah.
So I think that's a place where Finland is really far ahead of everyone else.
Mm.
But yeah, I think, as you generally said, our education system is very much based on the same premises as the American
Mhm.
education system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to school, teacher stands at the front of the classroom and
Yeah, the
tells you what
whiteboard.
to do, and
You go do some
yeah,
work.
you go do it,
and
then you get homework,
come
you do
back,
that,
and
and then it starts all over again the next day.
it was funny that one of the previous days we had a sort of 30-minute presentation on how to learn things. In the start I was like, okay, sure, I might actually learn something here. But as usual, I get very disappointed when I find out what it's actually about. But they were just talking about the same old bullshit that they probably were told by the community of the state that they have to give this lecture just to, for some reason, motivate the school children. But they, I was thinking that maybe they would try to talk about how the teachers may want to encourage it and stuff like that. But they just started initially talking about how it's the students' obligation to perform more, and it's in no way the teacher's fault if you don't learn enough. You always have to ask yourself, what you can do.
Oh, what was that? A
That was the thing.
presentation the
That was-
teachers.
yeah, the teacher present.
Okay.
It was a teacher presentation.
Oh yeah, you always do that at the start of the year, where you have to put your expectations for the class and the teachers
Yeah.
up in the classroom. I remember we did this. Yeah.
Well, this was actually something a bit different, but
This was different.
yeah.
Okay.
it was like a single teacher that went around the classes and preaching about this whole
Oh,
how
yeah.
to learn better.
So just a teacher who was
Yeah.
traveling around Danish
Yeah.
schools or something and then talking about
Yeah.
this.
And the only thing they said was, you should look to yourself and ask what you could do better. And they in no way took some of the blame for like the education or the teaching of the information.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You know.
she got some of the philosophy generally right. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to look at yourself, but there is it's also putting the blame away from her and the other teachers.
Yeah.
So she's not looking at herself, but it's like you to do it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I had a problem with that, but I do agree. You at first the first instinct is to always assume that you are, in most part, assume that you are at fault and try to, change that. But there's some things that that you need both parties to sort of be in consensus that they have to change it.
Yeah. Yeah. The
And the school system just avoids all faults,
Yeah.
or at least yeah.
Yeah, but that's true. The school system generally just thinks if the students are not doing
Yeah.
good enough, they're not studying enough,
It's the
and we have to
student's
give them
fault.
more hours to study.
Yeah.
And if they're not motivated enough, well, we'll go tell them they're not motivated enough, and they have to pick up their
So
asses and get
stupid,
motivated. Yeah. So. Yeah, I definitely don't think that's right. Finland's got it much better there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could learn a lot from them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think there's much more to expand on there. Maybe we'll actually do a whole video on this at some point.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a
I'd love
great
to,
idea.
That's
But I think I need some. Yeah, exactly. We just
Yeah.
need some more time to think about it, like, and really get our ideas out on paper here.
exactly.
But it is a very interesting topic, and there's so many things to think about here. It's also something we've been thinking about for a long time, generally,
Yeah.
because we they've had a lot of problems with the way school is conducted.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of improvement to be had.
I think generally, I think this is always a sort of a playing factor that the best teachers I've have had real life experience.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, they've all had
yeah,
experience in the real world and haven't just been studying at CBS and for like 5 years looking at a book and then teaching from that same book.
yeah, exactly.
No, they, yeah,
The best teachers have been in some way inspiring and
Yeah.
unique. I mean,
Yeah.
they've gone away from the book and like skewed off course
exactly.
to teach what they believe and what
Yeah.
they have experienced, and not just what they read in a book.
Yeah,
And-
and they actually understand the sort of motivations of a child. They don't want to do the homework.
Yeah,
That's just
and
generally
especially
it.
like if you just tell them to do it and try to force them to do it, they definitely don't
You
want
won't
to.
get a good results.
Yeah.
And I can say definitely the worst teachers are the people that don't want to or have a complete lack of understanding for these students,
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
their motivation. Yeah.
that's definitely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next topic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. we can do a whole video about this
Definitely.
at some point in the future. Next topic is corruption. Yeah. Woo! Although no, not really. Okay. There's always corruption everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
even in Denmark, even if we don't know it, there is obviously
Mhm.
corruption present. But I mean, comparing it to other cultures, where, for example, like more southern countries, I mean, Brasilia. That's what it's called, right?
Brazil.
Brazil. Sorry, it's called Brazilian in Danish.
Okay.
So I was just
Right,
like
yeah, it's
Brasilia.
true.
Sounds correct. No, it's Brazil. A country like that, which has generally a lot of natural resources, but still just doesn't work together because there's
Yeah.
such a big gap between the rich and the poor. They, of course, have a very high corruption rate. I mean,
Mm.
things just doesn't work out over there. And compared to that, Denmark has a very low corruption rate. I mean, and it's reflected in the socialistic system. We're pretty well off in Denmark,
That's right.
well, where that is regarded. But of course, there's bad people everywhere, and they come in disguises.
Mhm.
There's good people everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We're very well off when it comes to corruption.
I'm definitely not complaining.
Neither am I. Well, I haven't really experienced it.
No.
No.
Well, it's just when it comes to this level, it's not something you generally experience or realize on a daily basis. You
Mm.
have to dig deeper into it to find it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Pretty much it.
yeah, pretty much. Next point: equal opportunity. We talked about this a moment ago, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's also a benefit of the socialistic system. Even if you were born in one of the lower families, in Denmark,
Yeah.
you can still go to school and you can still get good grades and get to university.
Mhm.
So, in that sense, even if you're the Einstein born in one of the lowest ranking families in Denmark, you can still get your degree and go to university.
Yeah. Or be like actual Einstein and not.
And not
Finish
do
it
it
as an
and
education
not
system,
finish
yeah.
his education.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's funny.
Some of you will get that if you watched some of the earlier episodes. I think I told you about it
Yes.
some time earlier. Okay. Well, yeah. That is important in Denmark. You get to choose what you want to do. And also, like, ytringsfrihed, you can pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
say what you want and write what you want on social media
What's that called?
and not be punished for it.
There's gotta be a term for that.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
That's right.
I mean, the Danish word is actually pretty nice.
Yeah,
Ytringsfrihed.
I like that one.
It's like one word for the whole term. Yeah.
We also have there's this social law that sort of governs our way of thinking. It's called Janteloven.
Oh, but that one is a bit bullshit though.
It is but it's no way a law in any way. It's just something that pops up once in a while in the Danish society.
Okay, well,
I think I believe it's you shouldn't think of yourself as more worthy than others.
Yeah.
That's right.
No. Yeah. Okay. This
Some-
law is pretty much meant to put you down. It's
Yeah,
like
it's very meaning.
you are not worth more than anybody else, and if you think you're worth more, then you're a piece of shit.
I
That's
know.
basically what the law says.
I mean, it's in no way actual in
No.
the Danish society, but it's just for
No,
some
it's
reason.
definitely not actual because people don't follow it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
no one follows it, but
People don't follow it, and they shouldn't necessarily follow it either.
for some reason it always pops up.
Yeah.
It's something. But yeah,
Nah,
people
nah,
generally don't follow.
I
They
mean,
don't, you
it-
know.
It only pops up when somebody is like really good at something and showing it off in social media, and then people are like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
Janderlon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's-
more of a making fun type thing. Or,
Yeah.
or whatever.
I think they used a fair bit, like, I don't know in what time period, but at some time period in Denmark,
Yeah.
where they actually presented the law and tried to, in some way, put down the farmers
Yeah.
by telling them that, no, you're not worth more than other people.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about that. That is just ranting, but
That
I
might be true. Yeah.
but I think it originates from somewhere around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but equal opportunity, that's good. And then happiness. I mean, happiness we've more than once been ranked very, very high.
We've been ranked the world's happiest country 2 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
Who's
it's
number
13
one
and
now?
6. It's Finland.
yeah. Of course, it's
Bastards,
Finland.
those bastards.
Yeah, but that's what you do when you get a good education system. It just
Yeah.
spirals
I honestly think.
out all over the
I
freaking.
think we were second or third
Yeah,
still, but I honestly think the reason we've dropped so much is the sort of the general happiness in the younger generation.
yeah, yeah. But
I
that's
think
what
at least in the
yeah.
news, they portray the younger generation as always being as being more depressed than ever before.
Yeah, it's because we don't know what to do. And
Yeah, it's
in
because we're
Finland, like
fed
they're growing up now, and like all the benefits are just rippling like out into all of society
Yeah,
from people who are happy and motivated, more motivated to do whatever it is they have chosen as a profession. And in Denmark, it's very, very clear cut, as we talked about just before, where it's just go to school, you get an education, and then you do whatever it is you want, and whatever it is you're put in a position to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Then maybe you have an epiphany at, I don't know, 35 and you change career, but
Yeah.
that's only a maybe. But yeah, I mean generally we're still pretty well off, but
Yeah.
education system, it's important. Come on, people. Yeah. But no, it is pretty good to live here. We have the equal opportunity, like pretty well put in place, and
Mm.
corruption is low and all of that. So
Yeah.
it's really not too
Very
bad. I
pleasant-
wouldn't
It's
complain.
a pleasant environment.
Yeah, it is. And we have pretty good nature, and we're not overcrowded or anything like that. Especially here in like this little town we live in. It's like it's not super little. There are like good supermarkets, and you can go buy food and
There's
but it's a
there's
nice
not a
peaceful
single
environment.
skyscraper in Denmark.
no,
Not as you see in like New York and Hong Kong.
no, not at all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean it's very surprising
Yeah.
for a person in New York to come visit
Yeah.
campus.
I mean, the
There's not a
countries-
single one.
Yeah, not a single one.
Yeah, go to our capital, Copenhagen, and if you want to find one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, the country is just very flat in general. Like we don't have any mountains or
That's
anything
true.
like that. It's just like
Right.
only hills. Like
Yeah.
not even that.
A small hill.
Yeah, exactly. Small hills.
A lump of ground or something.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's actually still quite beautiful nature. It's just
Very much.
like a grassland plains kind of environment. And yeah, I mean, you can spend a lot of time just walking in the forest or hiking on the fields. So it's still a beautiful environment. Businesses. Businesses are actually quite easy to start despite of the high taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Danish businesses just do quite well.
Yeah.
Because they're generally very supported by the state,
Yeah.
and it's easy to find out how to start one, and it's easy to get the paperwork done. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, I have a business, and it wasn't hard to start it. You can find the information and resources you need to know what to do, and you can do
Yeah.
pretty much all of it online, and yeah, get hold of what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, that is really a good thing.
I think something I want to get into is sort of the innovative strength that Denmark has, and alongside other Scandinavian countries. Um, if you compare us to a country like Norway, we are very strong and innovative. We have a lot of companies that are world leaders. We have a lot of medical companies. We have Novo Nordic, which is world leading in insulin. And we have other Bavarian Nordic, and then we also have electricity. We have, well, Siemens was sold to the Spanish company, but we had those, and we have Vestas. I believe that's still a Danish company, yeah. And we also have how were you saying, pipes? Pipes that I think we're world leading as well. Danfoss and Grundfos, they're also extremely well. So our innovative strength is so intense, and so it is, so as well as it is in the U.S. They also have a big companies. But if you take Norway, for example, they've sort of been, I'd say, relaxing it about. They've had their huge oil reserves to rely on throughout history. So if you think, just try to name a company from Norway.
I don't know. I'm not the man for it. I couldn't
Okay.
even name like half the companies you just
Oh,
named.
okay, fair enough. Well, but it's true. You don't see much come from the countries that have a easy source of income. They aren't part of the EU either, Norway,
Yeah, true.
and because they don't need it. They do not need it. They don't need any economical status in the EU, and because they can rely on the oil that they have.
Yeah. No, but that is a very valid point.
Yeah.
We're in Denmark forced to be innovative because
Exactly.
we don't have natural resources.
Yeah. I
And
think that's
despite
very
that, we're
important.
still a very wealthy country because we have innovation, and also the next point that we'll get to in just a moment. We have that.
Yeah.
That's why we survive in Denmark.
Yeah, because you take away the oil from Norway and they have nothing.
And now they're forced to be
They're
innovative.
forced to be innovative. Yeah.
Also, I've heard about this from one of my friends. They have these reservoirs where they buy power and then they transport the water up. Then they use it to make power and sell it to EU through the general EU power line. When
Okay.
power is high priced,
Yeah.
like they sell the power.
I
And
see.
then when it's low priced, they buy the power and then use it to transport water up. So they kind of make money that way. Which is
That's kind of funny.
yeah, that is kind of funny. Like they're basically storing power through kinetic energy through water moving,
Mm.
and then they cash it in when
Okay.
the power prices are high, and then
Yeah.
buy the power to store it when
Yeah.
the prices are low.
Yeah. Take power, for example. I mean, we have the strength of our windmills and our solar panels as well. And it was sort of the fundament of that evolution. Came from a crisis in Denmark where we had no oil, we had no lighting for any of the car or for any of the oil lamps, and we had no petrol for the cars. So there was just simply no way of using that resource, and because we didn't have it readily available. But we innovated windmills,
Yeah.
to power our houses, and
Which is very profitable in Denmark because
Yeah.
it's super windy all the time.
yeah, that's true. But yeah,
Alright, okay, we talked about this. I mentioned this point right before. It's very important in Denmark. Trust. I feel like, the Danish people just generally trust each other more. Because I experienced this when I went to Canada. Quite a few times. When you go into a clothing store and you want to try out clothes, you have to go up to a person to have them unlock the changing room door, and then they have to note what things you take inside with you,
really,
so you don't steal anything. And in Denmark, you don't have to do that.
That's
You
crazy.
literally just go and pick out what clothes you want in a store, and you go try them on. And
That's
you
crazy.
don't have to notify anyone or go unlock a door or anything.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah.
And also, there are no weapons are not readily available in Denmark. You don't have to be afraid that somebody is walking around with a freaking Glock in their back pocket in the street.
Yeah.
You don't have to be afraid of that. You don't have to be afraid that somebody will come out with a freaking shotgun and like blow you out
Mm.
from the neighbor's house or something. Like
Yeah, it is
you don't have to
get
be
away from
afraid of that in Denmark.
Yeah.
People are not armed. People just generally trust each other. I mean, also, it is actually possible in Denmark that you can lose your wallet on the street, and have your phone number or something in it. And then they will actually, whoever finds it, go to the police and deliver
Mm.
it,
That's
and
very
then you'll
likely,
be
yeah.
called.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, personally, I like the trust factor, the
Yeah.
high trust factor. Yeah, also, there's a football golf sort of course in a town called Mugdin, and there's no personnel. You if you want to use the course, you go into their little shed, and then you pay the fee in order to play, and you can easily just go ahead and play. The footballs are readily available. You don't have to unlock it or anything. You can just take the football and go play. But the general consensus says that you do the right thing, and you just do what's ethnically correct.
yeah, and I think that is a very common thing in Denmark. I mean, obviously it doesn't happen all the time. Trust is not always rewarded, but
Yeah.
most of the time in Denmark, I think you're generally rewarded for just being trustworthy and trusting others.
Yeah, I remember from my childhood, I used to play a lot of football or soccer, if you want to call it that. But the football pits in Denmark are so easily accessible, whereas in Hong Kong, or where I lived at least, it was like a 10-meter high fence, and you needed a key in order to unlock it in order to play. So you couldn't just hang out with your friends at the football field, and so the just general freedom you have, associated with a lot of privileges you have living in Denmark is very high, and I like that.
Yeah.
We also have a friend that moved to Japan, and his view was that he liked Denmark more than he does Japan,
Yeah.
and that's mainly because of the amount of freedom you have here.
Yeah.
Kids can bike to school without the parents worrying, and it's actually funny because one of our friends has an au pair. We also had an au pair in Hong Kong, but not here in Denmark. But the au pair had come directly from the Philippines and was incredibly surprised that the kids were allowed to bike to school without any supervision.
Yeah.
They were, and she was starstruck, or
Yeah.
she was baffled by the fact that they can just bike to school. She was worrying that they would get kidnapped or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That just pretty much doesn't happen in Denmark. Like,
It doesn't really.
when a kidnapping happens in Denmark, it's like a big story in the freaking news.
Exactly.
Like it is the news of the freaking like month
Yeah.
when a kidnapping happens.
Exactly.
And no, children just bike to school. I mean, you start biking to school at like sometimes 8 or something, and at the first few times, or like first year or something, you bike with your mom to school, and then you kind of learn it, and then like just from there, like 9 to 10 years, and you just bike to school for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you just do that. I mean, there's no problem with that,
Mhm.
or you walk to school, or walk to your after school activities, or something like that. I mean, you pretty much just trust that is going to work out. And
There's
it
no
does.
danger. I mean, there's nothing to fear, except.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would feel very different like living in America. Like, I don't know it. Like, people just amp it up a lot, but I mean, they do have guns, and
Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely be a different experience to live there. I remember a friend, or somebody I know, lived there as an au pair.
Okay.
Yeah, for a year or something.
Right.
And he said that when he arrived there, he was unsure where to go for the house. So he was walking around the streets and trying to find the street that he was supposed to get on. And then he saw a person, and he was like, "Oh yeah, of course, I can just walk up and ask where I have to go."
Yeah,
So he walked up and asked. He was like, "Hey sir, where is blank street?"
Yeah.
And then this person was like looking up at him frantically, and then he pulled out a taser and was like, "Don't get closer to me," like waving the taser around. Yeah.
What the hell?
And
That's that's
Yeah,
so dumb.
he was just like, okay, sir, okay, and then he just like backed around and started like walking like rapidly away.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't ever get that in
I
Denmark.
mean, it's not legal to have a taser on you, and it's not even legal to have a pepper spray in your bag.
Well, there you
it's,
go.
it's just like a year ago, I think it was just made legal in order to. It's just made legal to have a pepper spray in your house, but you can't use it for self-defense or anything because that's harmful. It's only if the thief has a pepper spray on him, and you also have one, then you can use it because then you're like equal in the defense. Else it's illegal. It's funny.
That's super weird.
But you know, it just doesn't happen. So most of the time we don't need it.
Yeah, but I mean that's not the only story. I don't remember who told this one, but I think it was on our shelter trip like a year ago or something. Somebody else had also gone to America. Like him and his friends were also robbed just on the street where they were like getting out of the car and like somebody drove by, like came out of the car with like weapons and like pointing at them, like taking their stuff. Like like it doesn't just seem like niche like circumstances that just happens like
Yeah.
from time to time. It seems like things that actually happen like regularly at that country. I mean, man, it is a bit scary. I mean, I would say that I do definitely like living in a country where I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, so trust is very high.
I must say, you know, if you compare safety here in Denmark to Hong Kong, it's actually not that different. Safety is also generally very high in Hong Kong. People might not expect it, but you know the penalties associated with doing something criminal is so high. You know, if you do something maybe a little more drastic, you know, they just drive you across the border to China and then they assassinate you. That is seriously what they do.
They drive you across the border and China goes,
Yeah.
I don't want you, and they assassinate you.
Exactly. There was this. Okay, there was a the richest guy in Hong Kong at the time, at least. His child was kidnapped.
Yeah.
But they found I think he probably paid the lump sum of money they wanted from the rich guy.
Yeah.
And then they found the criminals.
Yeah, of
And
course
then
they do.
the Hong Kong
Yeah.
police just drove them across the border and assassinated them. Because it's legal in China too. With the death penalty. But it's not in Hong Kong. But the safety, the criminal rate is very low in China and Hong Kong. It's just not something you do, and it's just very scary to face the penalties.
Yeah, that is true. That's true. Yeah, well,
But yeah,
now we got that story. Okay, yeah, but the next point is, even though we generally trust each other a lot, we're still very reserved in Denmark. Like we keep a lot to ourselves.
yeah,
It's not a normal thing to go up to somebody random on the street and just talk to them, or sit beside somebody in the bus and talk to them in Denmark.
yeah.
We're generally reserved, shy people, which I think is a very interesting thing when we all trust each other so much, generally.
Mm.
Yeah. Don't know what else. Okay, yeah, I do know what else to say about that. Okay, so the next point is we'll just jump to that immediately. Youth culture. There is something most people in Denmark like to do.
Yeah.
And this generally opens people up and gets them out of their reserved state. And it is drinking and partying.
Oh, that's another big company in Denmark. I mean, Carlsberg and Tuborg and
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the beer companies. But yeah, that is a thing that everybody, any Dane,
Yeah.
does. Except me. Oh, except a few people, of course. I mean,
Yeah. There's no drinking age, legal drinking age in Denmark.
I'm sure.
Only
Oh yeah, only
legal
buying.
buying age.
Yeah, that's right.
Where in the U.S. It's 21, at least for the heavy
So that's the
spirits. I think that's
drinking
the heavy
age, or like
spirits.
the buying age.
I believe that's that's the drinking age. I'm pretty sure I believe that's heavy spirits, and then like at 18 you can get like a beer.
Okay.
I believe it's like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's very different in Denmark. Like
And there's
if
no drinking age. You can legally drink as a child.
Exactly. Your parents regulate when you get to drink.
Yeah.
So you might get offered like a sip of wine or something at some point for you to try it. But at 16 you can buy soft alcohol, or what what is
Yeah,
it like?
alcohol
weaker
that is
alcohol.
below 16%,
Yeah, something like that.
which is
You,
still
you might
very
get it.
high.
And then at 18 you can buy any alcohol
Yeah.
and cigarettes and all of that
Yes.
shebang. Yeah, which is early. And the general partying culture in Denmark is that people start partying as soon as like 14.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like get hammered at 14.
Yeah.
Like any
With alcohol, yes.
yeah. Yeah, as soon as 14. I mean that is an early age. I mean, I think the average age or something approximating that is 16. Is when people start partying.
I think, yeah, the 3 years of what is considered high school in Denmark is the
Yeah.
main years of partying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people party a lot there. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. If you go to like the main one, STX or HX,
Right, yes.
you generally like go to school 5 days a week, and then you get to the week, and then you party 2 days, and then you go to school 5 days, and then you get to the week, party 2 days, and you just keep repeating that over and over again
Yeah.
every week, and that's what people do here. And they go to parties and they drink and they get freaking hammered, and then they recover on Sundays, and then Mondays they go to school again. And some people even go to tidlig fredag, where they go partying on freaking Thursdays. Like,
Thursdays?
yeah, they do.
Really?
None of your class have done that yet?
No, none.
Really? Are you
Yeah.
sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure. but-
Okay.
Well, they're like two
Oh,
people I
people
might say that
definitely do
drink
that.
in the weekdays,
Yeah,
but they do, we have fredagscafé,
yeah,
and just normal parties where we hang out with the friends, and then you have the high school parties, gymnasiefester.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, personally, I participate in the parties, but yeah,
You just kind of go.
I don't mind. I like it.
I don't mind.
I like it.
I don't mind.
I agree.
I agree.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I like partying generally, but I don't like drinking. So
Right.
those two things are just a very big conflict in Denmark, because
Yeah.
partying means drinking in Denmark.
Yeah.
So if you go to a party and you don't drink, you're not partying. So that generally just fucks up the whole partying thing for me, because I don't want to drink.
Right.
I don't like it.
Personally, I think I was like that in the first year, but it's changed sort of over time, second and third year. Yeah.
Like the drinking or
Both.
partying.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because when we went the first year, like we
Yeah,
both
we just-
didn't drink. I actually drunk more than you.
Yeah, you did.
Like, I drank enough to like at least feel it, and then I was like, no, I'm not having more of this.
Yeah.
Because we only went like the first few times the party was
Because it's just
There,
not
I don't
enjoyable
think-
if you
no.
don't follow the.
the general norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause then you just go and you like have a little drink and then you sit, and then people are getting stupefied on the whatever thing, and just going around and kind of standing at the dance floor, not dancing, but kind of looking around, and yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a thing to behold. I mean, you have to experience it.
But
They don't recommend.
I like it.
You
I
like
would
it now?
recommend it. Yeah.
You like it now?
Yeah.
Man, that's a change of mind.
I like it. I think it's part of our culture as a Dane. We are Vikings, so we're partying and getting, I don't know, hammered, I guess, if you want to call it that.
I mean, you have
This
been
is
drinking a
fun.
lot more recently.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of parties right now, at least. I went to one last Friday, this Friday, and then next Friday as well.
This Friday too?
Yes.
Next Friday again?
Yep.
See, there we go. You got it, man. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I still don't get it, but you get it a little more, so maybe you can explain it to me sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to experience it, I guess, in order to.
Well, I mean, I kind of did for a year, but then I was like, nah.
Yeah, we didn't get the full. Actually, the sort of high school parties always kind of dull. It's more fun to be around people that you like if you go to school within your same class. That's the fun parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get to experience
can
those.
sit around a table and enjoy,
Yeah.
having fun for like half a day or something.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
sure. Well, I didn't get to experience that, so maybe sometime later in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe. I probably will.
But I've actually also in the radio I heard recently that drinking amongst these high school students
Yeah.
has increased a lot, and I've also heard that we're among the highest drinking under 17
Wouldn't surprise
in
me.
Europe at least. Also
Yeah.
because of the law,
Yeah.
we don't have any, so.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
you're just generally encouraged by your peers to drink.
But it might
around
actually
your
be
age,
like
so-
a coping factor to the depressing life of a high school student.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're so happy all the time. Why people think we're so happy because we drink all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how. Yeah, that's just how it looks. I mean, people seem so happy when they're like super stoned on like a Thursday, I don't know, sorry, Saturday after drinking all Friday. Yeah.
Well, okay, the alcohol part, I enjoy drinking wine and beer.
Beer too.
Yeah.
Man, I hate the taste of beer.
Well, sort of on in setting aside the partying part, but just drinking wine and beer, I enjoy it because someone has taken the effort and time in order to create a product that they themselves feel great about, they themselves approve of. I mean that's maybe different if you choose a company like Carlsberg, which is just a mass production like Budweiser in America or something.
Yeah.
But if you pick the microbreweries across Denmark, try those. There are dedicated people that have spent most of their life studying how to make a specific type of beer, and then they want to share that with the other people, and appreciating that effort. I think it's very interesting for this, and also just winemakers in Italy and France, I guess. There are families that family-owned wineries and other owned wineries that vineyards are they're called vineyards. There are families that are dedicated to produce this product and have so across thousands of generations or hundreds at least.
Well, that is an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah.
Well, maybe more about that later.
There are actually a lot of
Make an episode about
microbreweries
that.
in Denmark. I actually wouldn't be surprised if someone said there was one in every city. There are a lot.
I think you're correct.
Yeah,
I think you are correct.
but I don't know how that is in other countries. I don't think that's exactly the same. But who knows?
You would drink a lot of beer.
That's true.
Well, maybe more about that. in
China
another
is actually
episode.
one of the largest consumers of beer.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something that's very shocking is that they mix beer with wine. And that's just that's a big no-no in like the Western world, but they do that in China.
Okay.
Because they don't like either any of them, so they just mix it together. Yeah. But it's
Yeah, that makes sense. You mix two things you don't like, and then you get something
Yeah.
you like. It's like minus is plus.
They're insane when it comes to buying or consuming things in China. Yeah, I've been on a factory visit with together with my dad in a city called Hangzhou in China. It's in southern China, besides Guangzhou, if you know where that is at least. But we arrived at this factory, and it's as you would expect a factory. It's dark, and they're all expensive have been taken, and it's just the bare minimum that you need to produce whatever it is you need to produce. But then afterwards you usually have a meal, a nice meal with the owner and factory and some of the employees, the highest employees, and then so we went there. There was a traditional Chinese restaurant. I think the wildest thing there, it wasn't that wild. I think it would get more wild, but it was chicken feet. But there was also very nice things like pork and king crab. There was this giant crab that they brought in. But yeah,
Whoa.
but then that again, they spend so much on things, not only products but experiences. And also at the table they brought forth what is called a Chinese wine that cost $130, 1,000 kroner, and that is expensive. And they just drank it as it was any other wine, any other normal ass supermarket bought wine. But they didn't really sort of appreciate that. But it was also a Chinese wine, and just a funny story if you're interested. It was created by a rich Chinese man that paid something like 200 million kroner in order to build this French chateau in sort of central China, and then grew a bunch of vineyards, and then started producing wine. Yeah, but it's so he essentially just with a bunch of money copied the French, built a French chateau, and therefore it cost a lot of money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't grown to appreciate wine still. Maybe I'll learn someday. But it's nevertheless,
Yeah.
it's goddamn alcohol. People, my best advice is drink some more water.
Yes,
Whatever-
water is good.
Whatever
I
you do,
agree.
drink
I
drink
agree.
some more water instead.
I agree.
Put away those juicy sippy cups, all that,
Sippy cups.
all the milk and alcohol and soda.
Milk is good.
Milk does
Milk is
taste good.
Milk
Use
is
it for
good.
my oatmeal, but
Milk is good.
but drink more water. Water.
Drink fatty milk. Don't buy
Well,
the skim fat.
Fatty milk would be better than
Yeah.
the general sugar-free milk that we get. What do you call it when it is distilled or certified or it's
Pasteurized.
pasteurized? Wow.
That's at
what
least when it's ridden of all bacteria and all cultures in the.
Okay, sure. We'll
Yeah.
call it that. But yeah, when that process has occurred, yeah. But yeah, drink it before that. I would actually like to taste some very fresh milk. That'd be good.
We went to a farm when I was young at least.
Of course you did.
Yeah. And any farm where a bunch of it's a tourist attraction essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried the fresh milk. The taste of it, or the consistency is very fatty, and at the same time it's very warm because obviously it came from the udders of a cow.
Yeah.
It's the same temperature as the body, so as a child I thought it was gross, but I suppose it still is because it's unusual to what normally get it's in the freezer.
Yeah, what you normally associate
Yeah.
with milk.
But it's good for you. Fresh milk, and try to eat ecologically and healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all try, or many of us do. Yeah, but do drink more water. Water is goody. I mean, you can get away with a lot of things if you just drink predominantly water.
Water is very good for you.
Alright. The last point. This is a very brief one, but it is super duper rainy and windy all the time here. It's more like a complaint. We're like fighting a complaint to God.
Yeah.
Please make it less rainy and windy in Denmark.
Yeah, it's funny because the Danish people, they always complain when it's sunny and insanely hot, and they always complain when it's windy and rainy.
Yeah, there's
There's no perfect.
Never.
We'll always be complaining.
Yeah.
We need something to complain about. We're having a perfect society. Yeah, okay, just joking.
But it's
true. Yeah, we
it's-
always complain.
It's always like that. Like when it's raining, it's like, oh, it's raining. Oh, come on, again. When it's windy, it's like, oh man, I can't go outside because it's so windy. Then when it's sunny, it's like, oh, it's way too hot.
Yeah, and the max was pretty much 30 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
Denmark, yeah.
like little compared to California maybe.
Yeah, exactly. But like when we
But
get that
yeah.
in Denmark, we only get that like 2 to 3 weeks
Exactly.
a year,
Yeah,
maybe a month. And when it's that hot, we just go, oh god damn, it's so
Stay
hot.
inside,
We're like
you know.
sweating all the time. Like we go out to the sun for like
Yeah,
2 hours and
beach,
we
yeah.
have like red skin all over our
Yeah.
body. Like
Because we're pale.
yeah, we're pale as like really pale in Denmark. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
insane.
that makes
Except for
sense.
the people who have like just like generally brown skin, like
Oh yeah. But yeah.
without doing anything. Like some
Yeah.
people just have that. But like, if you don't have that kind of genetics, you're just pale in Denmark and you get sunburned so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's our little complaint to God. But I mean, it's not. We're actually complaining that we're complaining all the time.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That's so weird. Yeah, we do. That is a little thing about Denmark, and you'll be glad to know that if you visit any time, that we complain about weather all the time. And it's a very hot topic in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, you can strike up a conversation about that anytime.
Wind is the worst. Rain, I sort of like, maybe.
Yeah.
Wind is just the worst.
Well, I mean, we need that for like
we
all our
obviously need
crops.
wind, but
Oh yeah, the wind for the
it sucks. It's,
wind turbines.
Oh yeah, that too. Sure.
Yeah.
Fine, we can't get rid
Yeah,
of
yeah,
wind.
exactly.
But no, wind is like the worst weather to be out in.
I guess it's just.
I would gladly go out if it's raining, but no wind. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's annoying for us, but it's just the way like
But yeah, it's obviously.
our whole system works. We need the wind for the wind turbines, and we need the water for all the farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean also the farmers like really do complain when it has been like dry. Like when this happens, this rarely happens, but
Oh,
it
yeah,
happens
yeah.
sometimes when it's been dry for like 2 weeks and it hasn't rained. Yeah, the farmers really do need some water on their fields.
They also hate when they get too much water.
Yeah, when they get too much water, it's like
I mean, last summer,
over flooded.
pretty much all the farms were flooded.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. There's
There's-
always something to complain about.
there's always something to complain
Always.
about.
Yeah, I would actually
words
say
of
it's better
wisdom.
for them to be dry because they can just put out their
Yeah,
water
the
cannon
water
thingies.
cannons, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, now you know all that. That actually was the last point. We probably missed something that I have no idea what should be, but you know, there's always something extra.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you live in Denmark, please do tell us your experience here. You might have some very different or radical views of what our society is.
Yeah.
And if you live outside, please tell us how it is to live in wherever you live. I mean,
Yeah, we love that.
yeah, I mean we don't know that much about it, so it would be great to get some first-hand insight
Yeah.
from somebody else who has some good experience. So yeah, if you have anything you want to tell us, anything, just text us on Instagram or write a comment.
Yep.
All the information is in the description below. And now, that's it for this episode. But we have a sign-up segment.
Oh my god.
Oh, and this one is about something very personal for me these past few weeks in the summer. And it is one of the most delicious ways to utilize milk. It is koldskål. And most of you, if you're not Danish, probably have never heard of whatever koldskål is. It even sounds
I think
weird.
it's a
like you
product
can't even
in
pronounce it.
outside of Denmark.
No, it's a very Danish thing. And it's essentially like a soft, a very thin yogurt. Right? That's how you would describe it, a thin yogurt.
Yeah, okay, the consistency is sort of between yogurt
Yeah.
and milk.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely thicker than milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, do you know how to make it? Because I think I
Yeah.
know sort of the basics.
Oh yeah, I generally just put A38
Yeah, exactly.
milk.
Yeah.
Like Canamilk. Sorry,
Canamilk, yeah.
Canamilk.
Yeah, Canamilk is it's buttermilk in English.
Okay, buttermilk.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't even know that.
And A38, I have no freaking idea.
Yeah.
But
A38 and
it's
buttermilk.
buttermilk and then it's more
Like a
bitter?
thicker bitter yogurt.
bitter
like,
yogurt, yeah.
like what do you call like a Greek yogurt?
Greek yogurt.
Like it's a cream. It's some sort of a cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
It's very hard to explain, but if you look up A38, you'll get a good idea of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so A38, like a thick A38, and then buttermilk.
Yes.
And then you mix that, and then you put some,
Citrus?
yeah, like some
Lemon?
citrus or some lemon,
Some
or
vanilla? Maybe?
what was it, like Appelsine, orange.
Orange.
You put some orange in it. So you can just press some orange and like some lemon. Then you can put that in. That gives a very, very nice, good taste. And then you can put some vanilla in.
Yeah.
And just maybe a little bit of sugar if you don't have enough from the lemon and the orange. And then you're pretty much done. So like just some of that E38, some buttermilk, some orange, some lemon, and then a little bit of vanilla and some sugar, and then you're all good to go. And the
Yeah.
sugar is only a maybe, it's for refining the taste. So you put that in depending on how sweet you want it. But yeah, that is very, very easy to make good recipe for some cold refreshment in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's been one of my favorites. Like these past 2 months when it's been warm, when that happens in Denmark, like for like a week or two a year, that is the favorite.
And you can sort of consume it in different ways. You can drink it just raw,
Yeah.
or you can add maybe some fruit, or in Denmark we have a thing called kammerjunker.
Yeah, which is made
Which
for
is-
specifically this.
Yeah, it's made
dish, yeah.
for only that, and
Yeah.
it's not used pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah, so yeah, that's like a little biscuit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
It
Biscuit,
is
yeah.
basically
It
a
is
little
basically,
biscuit, yeah, that you just put on.
Yeah. Put multiple, and then you.
Yeah,
you know,
and then you eat
eat
it
it.
with a spoon, and then
Yeah.
you have
Very
nice like tasty orange flavored, like milky yogurt kind of thing
Yeah.
with like small biscuits on it. And you can also just put like general muesli, yeah, like or oatmeal or cornflakes and then some fruits as you mentioned on top of it, and it tastes very good. It's
Yeah.
actually it's super duper delicious. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our little bit for today. Little tidbit about some unique Danish dishes.
There are also competitions every year that about koldskål.
Really?
Yeah.
Like making the best koldskål?
Well, no, just the best supermarket bought koldskål you can get. So like a chef comes in and then they rate supermarket koldskål.
Well, there are some
There's
some very
good ones.
poor ones, but also some good ones. I mean, what about is it not like the Kløver one?
Kløver, yeah.
Yeah, it's
that's
so terrible. It's not
Don't
it's
buy
not
that
even
ever.
koldskål. It's like I don't get why they're not out of business because it's so
Yeah.
absolutely horrible. Like I don't get why anybody would ever eat it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just terrible.
Yeah, it's just.
But the two best ones was one called Mormor's koldskål. And then the other one is called, well, it's a koldskål from a company called Naturmælk. So yeah, that one, koldskål fra Naturmælk and Mormor's koldskål were rated the top two.
Okay, so in any case, if you want to get some koldskål you don't want to make it,
Yeah, exactly.
there you go. You got two good brands you can buy.
Yeah.
But I do recommend making it because it's going to be
that's
better.
always good.
Yeah.
Always better.
And it's super easy. It takes like no time. And the product you have to acquire for it or not super difficult to find. Unless you don't know what the name is because you live somewhere outside of Denmark.
Yeah.
I mean, I would when we go to like America or Canada or anywhere else like sometime in the future, we should definitely make it for people.
Sure.
Just have like a little stand and then mix it up and we're like, hey, koldskål.
Have a koldskål stand.
Koldskål stand.
Lemon stand. that makes
Oh, I
sense.
can definitely guarantee you it's much better than lemonade.
That would actually be kind of fun.
Yeah, this is like
So
lemonade
we-
upgraded.
Standing on the street and with some koldskål.
Yeah,
There's two
Yeah.
two naive Danish people who are
Like-
like, oh look, everyone's gonna like koldskål.
yeah, and then nobody shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just weirded out.
yeah, because they don't know what it is. You know, that's,
Yeah,
that's what
exactly.
happens. Well, well, that's it for today. I think we're pretty much drained out now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent all my knowledge and energy pouring it all into this amazing podcast.
We got special effects and sound effects with us today.
Yeah.
Wanna come with me?
Yeah, all made by me.
Or maybe it's
All made by me. Alright. You can do the sign off and I'll support by special effects.
Hell yeah. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in for today's episode. We have covered a lot of things, especially about the culture living here in Denmark. And we've told you about our Costco secrets. So from here, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.